Okay, TikTokers, this is for educational purposes. I send warnings, not invitations. I apologize for how I say this and do not apologize for what I say. This is my third attempt at making this video because I said some stuff that was very unbecoming and it wasn't very nice. So I'm going to try to play nice while I deal with Aaliyah Cummings and try not to step in dog shit in the process. So, Miss Cummings, I don't know you from Adam and Eve. I don't know you from Mark and Steve. But I will tell you, you don't know jack shit about missing and murdered indigenous women. Alright? You being a female, you should probably be more worried about this instead of coming at me with some big data crap. Alright? Big data. Big data has had it in for MMIW from the beginning. Alright? And you are the first person to find my new account and has come at me with this same load of horse shit. So congratulations on that. But first and foremost, as a female, you should be probably one of those people paying attention when Native women go missing. Especially with pretendians, you know, black people who swear that black people were here before 1492 with no physical evidence whatsoever, or believe that lie and will continue to believe and push that propaganda, which is fine and dandy and all, but sooner or later, when you have the physical evidence, then maybe people will actually start believing y'all instead of, oh, but we're going to be on social media because social media is always telling the truth. Well, your first lie is right here with big data and MMIW being a Native American religious ceremony. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. First and foremost, a religious ceremony and Native American really don't go hand in hand. Alright, because most natives are only religious because it was forced upon their ancestors when this thing called residential schools came about, when this thing called Unalive the Indian, Save the Man, the act which allow you to kidnap kids and, for lack of a better word, school of hard knocks, beat the Indian out of them, and in some cases, take their life. Alright? But in some cases, we conformed. And in most cases, the residential schools was the trick. You know? So religious ceremony and native thing, that does not go hand in foot. I'm just gonna go ahead and correct you right there. That is not a thing. Now if you just said it was a Native American ceremony, you might have been closer to right, but you're still fucking wrong because natives aren't unaliving their own at the rate that this is happening, that you literally have to be online to talk about missing and murdered indigenous people. Which is the new title, by the way. MMIW is old news. I call it MMIP because it covers everybody. So let me give you a recap. First it was MMIW. Then it became MMIW and G. Then it became MMIW G and then and B. Then it became MMIW G, B, and Two Spirits. And so I just suggested that the people that started it, why don't we just call it MMIP? Missing and Murdered Indigenous People. I'm not a full-blooded native, but I'm also not a goddamn pretendian. Now here you go, coming at me in whatever video this is that you decided to stick your face in, which you probably shouldn't have done that. You know, I usually don't go back and forth with women on the internet, but being that you are the first person who have found me on my backup account with this big data BS, I gotta go ahead and treat you like I would treat any dude. No, minus the violence. Your problem is that you don't know shit about native culture. Your other problem is that you come after the wrong guy at the right day at the wrong motherfucking time. I don't have time to try to guide you on what's right and what's wrong. But anything that somebody brings up on the machine and it's called big data, you should probably reevaluate your source material. You should also probably try to find evidence that big data is telling you the truth versus big data telling you a fabricated lie. But hey, if you want to believe that it's a religious practice of Native Americans, one, you're full of crap, and two, it's also full of crap. Religious ceremonies of Native Americans, most natives didn't have religion before 1492. Spirituality, yes. Ceremonies, yes. The shit that got banned, the shit that if they caught you practicing, they would unalive your shit. Yeah, yeah, they had that. You know, they banned the drums, wouldn't let us hunt on our lands, took away your ability to have food sources and protect yourself. Oh no, what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick you in this little area. We're gonna call it a reservation, and we're gonna give you guys fucking Spam and government cheese. Oh, if you get sick, you're gonna have to have permission to come to a doctor so that we can take care of you on that note. So that being said, you're stuck on a reservation. You don't have permission to leave. If you got a medical ailment and they can't get a doctor to you, you're pretty much gonna die. But I'm pretty sure since schools don't teach you that, you would have to learn this shit from your ancestors, because some of them can tell you they had some pretty close calls, provided that you actually have any native in you at all. But hey, this is how we got here. I made a video and you popped your head in and started talking about this big data crap. First off, big data is a pain in the ass, and everyone just like you who keeps finding me and thinking that, hey, I'm gonna tell this to the half-breed. I'm not gonna tell this to an actual native, because you ain't got smoke for that. Because, you know, what's gonna happen is when you go to an actual native, they're gonna track your shit. And they're gonna track your little big data thing. And they're gonna go after them. And I'm pretty sure that, like, AIM and TAF and all these other motherfuckers want big data. Because big data is causing a lot of problems. Alright? Big data is pushing out an ass load of bad information, or misinformation if you would, just as bad as those damn pretendians who believe that black people were here before 1492. Are you one of those people? Are you a pretendian? Do you believe that black people were here before 1492, but you don't have evidence? You just have social media, which will no way in shape or form make you a motherfucking Indian. And to the Indians that see this, don't take that motherfucking Indian thing as a stab. I'm part native, but I'm pissed off that I have to keep going through this crap with people who look like me, because I'm also part black, that keeps putting up this big data bullshit and then think that they shouldn't be held accountable for it. Her and big data can take a small walk off of a short pier with cut wrists and sharp infested waters. And I just want to watch. And don't worry, I'm not going to save you. I'm also going to throw some piranhas in there just to make sure that the job is done. Now that may have sounded a little bit violent. And no, respectfully, I do not believe in violence against women. But in some cases, you know, when people overreach, sometimes we got to go down to the bowels of hell to make sure they get the point. Miss Aaliyah Cummings, MMIW is nothing to do with big data. It is not a Native American or American Indian religious ceremony. Most Native American tribes do not do ceremonies involving unaliving their women, because most of the tribes, women are highly valued. Something they don't teach you in school. Yeah, but hey, you know, not all tribes are the same. Not all tribes listen to their women. And unfortunately, if that was more of the case where the tribes actually listen to the women, America would be a whole different look right now. There would be less violence. There would be less warfare. There would be less gunpowder. Because my great-grandmother used to tell me this all the time when she bounced me on her knee in the kitchen. If our people would have just swam under the boat and poked holes into that some bitch sank, and then used ancient materials to handle the colonizers, this world wouldn't be the way it is now. There's a great chance that I wouldn't exist, because I'm also part white, as well as part black, as well as part native. But I can look you dead in the face and say this: it's been worth the sacrifice. Because to see what the natives are going through right now, me not existing, that wouldn't affect them at all. Might affect my great-grandmother, might affect everybody in my family if we don't exist. But at the end of the day, my grandpeople wouldn't have suffered. No, they wouldn't have had to go through this shit. She wouldn't have to tell me stories about her people being scalped and all that other bullshit. But hey, it is what it is. I only got to deal with her for the summertime. You know, she passed in 1983 when I was 10. So you can put that in big data. Roll it up in a little pipe. Roll it up in a Black and Mild and smoke it until your balls pop off. Oh, I forgot, you're a female, you don't have balls.